Welcome to the Airplane Spoon podcast, where I talk about real questions and real stories about feeding children. I'm Serena Merle, a feeding therapist and the director of the Airplane Spoon. Every week, I share stories from my feeding therapy practice and talk about the challenges many families experience around food and mealtimes. Today's question is, how do I help my child try new foods? And if you're wondering about this too, you're definitely not alone. Okay, today's question again is, how do I help my child try new foods? This is probably the number one question I get from families reaching out that have feeding concerns and want to get some support. And I get it. They're worried about their child's health, their nutrition, their growth, if they're not eating different foods, especially if they're missing whole food groups. It could be worried about the oral skill. And also, it's about culture. There's lots of different foods that could be related to different family culture. And we want our children to enjoy food, especially if the child has more of a negative reaction to eating and they're refusing it altogether. It makes sense. How do I get my child to try new foods? So let me start off by sharing a story. I want to share a story about a little girl. Let's call her Sarah. And Sarah is refusing to eat anything new. She only wants to eat the same foods, and she really likes marinara pasta, bananas, and blueberries. And so that's what she eats all the time. Her mom has tried putting out different foods for her to send them in her lunchbox at school, and they just never get touched. And Emma gets more upset about seeing different foods or being asked to eat these foods. And the parents, they just worry about meals. They don't have joy around it. They're dreading meals beforehand unless they just know to go back and give her what she's going to eat. But then they feel like they're failing in some way, like, I'm just giving her pasta all the time. Mom's tried to cook different foods and it just gets left there. She won't even touch it. So there's a lot of challenge and negative association on all ends. Feeding is not just the child, it's the family and the parent experience too. So let me talk a little bit about why children do this, because sometimes that can be really helpful to know what's going on, especially with their brain development, so that we can support them in a little bit different way. So children want sameness. Little children especially. First 5 years, children want the same things that they like over and over and over and over and over again. And this isn't just food. Think about movies or songs or toys. They want to watch the same movie 500 times. They want you to read the same book every single night because sameness means predictable, means safe. Everything around them is all new all the time. And so that can be a little bit worrisome if I don't know what's going on. I don't know what book you're going to read to me. I don't know what movie this is. I don't know what to expect next. But if I know this movie or I know this book, I know what's going to come. And I can get excited about that because I know and can anticipate what's going to come next. But with food, there are so many variables with food. Think about it. There is size. You could have like little blueberries or bigger blueberries or little strawberries or bigger strawberries. You could have temperature. Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it medium? It's supposed to be warm, but it cooled off, or it's supposed to be cold and it warmed up. You can have texture, and texture is everything, right? How firm or crunchy is it? How soft? How mushy? How wet? How dry? And then there's smell, which smell is huge. And I don't think we understand all of the implications of smell and how deeply it's connected in our brain, especially to our memories, but it's very powerful. And then taste. And taste can be really complex. We have all these different types of taste sensors, not just in our mouth, but in our nose, in the back of our throat. And children are often feeling taste a lot bigger than adults. So There's so many different variables around food. And not to mention different types of food. If every single day you're serving something new, right? This day it's going to be a fried rice, and then this day it's a spaghetti, and this day it's tacos, and then it's pizza. Every single day is different. I don't know what to expect. That can be a little anxiety provoking for a child. So they want to control. They want to be like, what can I do in this situation? I want to eat what I like, and I don't want to eat new things. And the other things around sameness, right? It's not just I want to eat what I like. I like pasta, but I like this type of pasta, this shape of noodle, this sauce, and nothing else. This is why sometimes more packaged foods and more processed foods sometimes even become preferred because they're consistent and reliable for children. They're the same every time. So if we think about that, what they're looking for is predictability. So are there ways that we can help be more predictable to help them to know what to expect? Sure, we could talk about today for dinner, we're going to have lasagna in the morning so that they know that that's coming. Or better yet, we can give them choices so that they get to decide and they feel like they have more maybe agency, or at least they're a little bit more invested in that. That's not just given to them all the time and here's your plate, now eat, but let's be part of it together. And so, a very simple strategy, and remember, simple doesn't mean easy, but a simple strategy is about modeling. I hear from parents all the time that they want their child to eat more vegetables, let's say. And so I ask them, you can ask yourself this, but I put it right back on parents and I say, do you eat vegetables? And parents often will laugh about it and being like, oh, I could be better about eating vegetables. And that's the thing. Children also learn what they see. And are children watching you eat? Are you eating with them at the table? Are they seeing the different types of food you're eating? And I get it if that in itself creates a really strong negative reaction, that maybe you're avoiding that a little bit. But when we avoid trying to help it to be better right now, inadvertently what we're doing is we're putting that problem off for later. But the problem doesn't go away. It just gets bigger usually. So we don't want to limit exposures. We need to expose. So let me go back to Sarah, the example of the child. So, right, she didn't want to eat any foods, just the foods that she liked. And so she got started with feeding therapy with me at the Airplane Spoon. And one of the activities that we do here is what I call food jobs. And what it is we have an interaction. It's like a food prep where we do something with the food. It could be peeling, it could be shredding or chopping. And we started to do food jobs with Sarah, and she got to pick. There's two vegetable choices. Which vegetable do you want? There's two fruit choices. Which fruit do you want? And then we had to do something with it. So let's say she's peeling carrots. And while she's doing it, we're talking about it. But there's no expectation or talk about eat it, try it, put it in your mouth, take a bite. No, because if that happened, she'd be done. But if the expectation is let's peel this whole carrot and there's no mention about eating it, her anxiety levels can still be pretty low because it's a very low risk. She can feel safe. So she's peeling it. We're talking about it. Oh, those are long peels. Oh, they look kind of like little wiggly worms. Whatever we can say about it that is labeling it and providing more language to her to understand about this food. We can talk about if it's crunchy. We could talk about if it's wet or dry. All of these facts about it. And no ask of her to eat it. But I start to ask myself questions in front of a child. I say, I wonder what this would feel like on my cheek. It's very cold in my hand. I think it would feel cold on my cheek too. And I put it on my cheek. Ooh, it's cold. And I have this reaction. But I don't turn to the child and say, now you do it. You put it on your cheek. But because I am having this experience, children learn through social imitation, and we want to be part of the group. So Sarah picks up the carrot and she puts it on her cheek and she goes, "No, it's cold," because she wants to copy. It's fun, it's silly. And there's no ask of her in this. Eventually, if I say I want to try it on my lips or I want to try it on my tongue, she might copy me or she might not. And if she doesn't want to copy me, children do a very, very good job of adjusting it to their comfort level. If I put it on my tongue, she might put it on her cheek. And she doesn't feel comfortable with putting it on her tongue, but she might do the step that she feels more comfortable with. And we're building up this confidence that I can learn about this food, I can interact with this food, and it doesn't have to be scary. And it doesn't have to feel forced and negative. So in this case, sometimes we were putting food in her mouth and then she took a bite of it. Or maybe she just ate it. While we're peeling the carrot, she might just take a bite of it. And this happened because she felt more and more comfortable. She was able to release a lot of that anxiety and stress around food. And she had a new tool of, I can interact with food and it doesn't have to be scary. And while this worked really well with this child, her mom would get really excited and she'd go to the store and maybe buy some of the same foods and talk about, we can do this at home too, to carry it over. Or she'd also involve her. Do you want me to put some of these carrots in your lunchbox? And so she said, yeah. And she put them in her lunchbox. But it doesn't mean it's going to work for all children, or it doesn't mean it's going to work right away. Sometimes children are very hesitant or they have a very strong association that food is scary or new food is not safe. And so we are trying to find success. How do we get some sort of interaction? For some children, I put the food in like a plastic bag that, a clear zippy bag, and maybe they can touch it or squish it or move it that way, or even put a bite of it in their mouth through the bag. If that's going to create success and help to build that positive association in them. So parents often think like, I tried it once and it didn't work. And so if that were the case, if we never practice, if we never do it, it's not going to get better. We need exposure. So don't stop just because it doesn't go well on the first try. Learning food can take time. The good thing is we have lots of natural opportunities if we plan for them, if we incorporate that intentionally. It doesn't have to mean every single day, but we do need some more repetitive expectation and exposure for that to become more safe. So here's a main reminder for you parents thinking about, how do I get my child to try new foods? Remember, children often need many experiences with food before they feel comfortable to eat it. And those experiences don't always look like eating, but it doesn't mean they're not helping them to learn and build confidence around that food, right? Touching, smelling, squishing, peeling, mashing, cutting, talking about that food, it's all part of learning to eat. It's okay if it feels frustrating. Sometimes you might feel like nothing is working, but progress can be very small and gradual, and we can build from there. Remember, if we stop offering opportunities to interact with that food, the children never get the chance to become comfortable with it. So keep exposing, keep modeling, remove the pressure, and look for those small wins. That's what I've got for you today. Thank you for joining me on the Airplane Spoon podcast. Feeding challenges can feel really overwhelming for families, but you're not alone. Many children need time, support, and positive experiences with food as they learn to eat. Remember, you are doing an amazing job supporting your child on their feeding journey. You've got this. Love, enjoy, and eat.